Okay, Assalamualaikum and hi to my supervisor, Dr. Khairil Anwar. And today I will present my final year project. And the title is The Influence of Extrinsic and Intrinsic Motivation Towards Student Academic Performance in UNIMAS. My name is Arni Sukma binti Hajari and the student metric number is 65481. So I start with my introduction. So basically is my FYP is to study the two types of motivation, that is extrinsic and intrinsic motivation that influence the student academic performance. According to McCormick and Tiffin 2007, extrinsic is those that are external tasks of jobs such as pay, work condition, and in terms of the student, it will be a trophy, certificate, appreciation, money, or the presents. In the intrinsic, it would be reward term of psychological motivation by receiving the appreciation, opportunity to use one ability, or in the term of student, it would be the excellent awards ceremony. And for my problem statement is the topic is more focused on how the extrinsic and intrinsic motivation give the influence on student UNIMAS in the term of the academic performance. Also, it is about which of the motivation are more give an effect toward the student. Also, it is about how that the motivation can influence academic performance specifically and what kind of motivation that are in the intrinsic motivation that give those effect to the student. And this is my research question. I have 5 research questions here. My research objective to determine the relationship between extrinsic motivation and the academic performance, and to determine the relationship between intrinsic motivation and the academic performance. My significance of the study is I categorize it with 2, which is lecturers and the student. I choose the lecturers because in this research study, the lecturers were the people that want to see their student to achieve a good result in the academic performance. And the lecturer will be more clear on which type of motivation, either intrinsic or extrinsic motivation, will be used to engage with the student during their class time. And for the student, this finding will be valuable because the student in UMass will try to identify which motivation will giving a good influence to the academic performance, either in a short-term benefit or long-term benefit. This is my scope of the study. And the definition of the key terms. For the extrinsic motivation, it was a motivation that occurs when we are motivated to do something or to engage in the activity because we want to earn reward or to avoid the punishment, while the intrinsic is occur because we are motivated to do something or to engage in the activity because of our own sake and not because of the external reward, while the academic performance is the outcome of the student in their education. This is for my literature review. It is from the motivation and its theories, from the Cherry, Ayub, and the others writer that I get from the many resources. And the concept of independent variable is the variable the experimenter change or control and is assumed to have direct effect on the dependent variable. It is by McLeod 2019. An independent variable for my research is extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. And for dependent is the student academic performance. Okay, for dependent variable, it is variable that being tested and measured in an experiment, and it is depend on the independent variable. For my underpinning theory, I choose the self-determination theory. That is the theory that macro theory that explain about the theory that are people motivated to grow and change by the innate and universal psychological needs. This is for my research hypothesis. H01 is show that there is a positive influence on academic performance when students have extrinsic motivation in their learning process. And for the H02, there is a positive influence on academic performance when students have intrinsic motivation in their learning process. This is from my methodology. My methodology include the research design. In the research design, I choose the quantitative research, that is cross-sectional survey design, and the questionnaire is to generate the data. The population was in UNIMAS, and I randomly select the student in the UNIMAS. Yes, the sample is student in UNIMAS from a different faculty. The sampling technique that I use is survey, will be given through WhatsApp. The link will be given through WhatsApp, FB, and other social media that can reach the student in UNIMAS. Data collection, given some time to complete the questionnaire that will be sent through Google form in medium of WhatsApp application mostly. The primary data for my research is the researcher were acquired the primary data through distributing the questionnaire to the target the respondent, and for mine is in UNIMAS, student UNIMAS. And for the secondary data is the evidence to support the finding of this study that is in the literature review. The unit of the analysis I use is ordinal scale and the interval scale. The interval scale is I use the 5 Likert scale, which is number 1 is strongly disagree, number 2 is disagree, 3 is natural, 4 is agree, and 5 is strongly agree. The research instruments that I use is the questionnaire, and it is divided into 4 sections. The section A is demographic, and the section B, C, D is about the dependent variable and the independent variable. The descriptive analysis was from the section A, demographic section. Statistical analysis is mostly from section B, C, and D, and I use SPSS version 20. SPSS is a software which it was commonly used by the researcher in analyzing the data collection. So now I want to analyze and present my data. First is for my descriptive analysis. That is demographic future. In this section A, it was 6 questions were asked to the respondent. And for the first data is for the age. The highest is the 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 most frequent age is from age 23 until 26 with the frequency 129, and the lowest is from the age 27 until 30 with the 4 frequency. The most answer for my survey is from the female with 130 over the 201 respondent, and the status is the most status is of course single. The highest education level is from degree with the 191, and the lowest is from the PhD. The most student answer my survey is from the FEB with the 108 respondent. And for the CGPA, the highest is from 3.4 until 3.00. with the 103 frequency, and the lowest is from 2.49 and below. The reliability test for independent and the dependent variable is this. The result for the Chrome brush alpha is 0.746. And I use the Pearson correlation, and the variable is as shown in this screen. And for the perception of influence extrinsic reward on student academic performance, the research question is the extrinsic reward influence the student academic performance in UNIMAS? So there is a positive influence on academic performance when students are having a extrinsic motivation. So the conclusion is, therefore, the H01 is accepted. While for the student perception toward intrinsic reward on student academic performance, and the research question is about, is the intrinsic reward influence the student academic performance? So the H02 is, there is no positive influence of the intrinsic reward to the student academic performance, so the H2O is rejected. This is for my hypothesis testing. H01 shows the result accepted, while the H02 shows the rejected. For the discussion and finding, the limitation of the study is from the target respondent, and the sample research were taken at UNIMAS campus only. The recommendation for the future research is to widen the range of respondents and to make the observation with larger representative sample. And thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you understand what I'm trying to present. Thank you, Doctor.